Cool. So how did you end up at the Kiarostami workshop? Or well, I guess you probably just applied, right?
I
Or
just applied. They had a almost an ad, but it's not an ad, but they had like a blurb about it. Like I think it was either an IndieWire or Filmmaker magazine, and when it says something about 10 days Cuba Kiarostami, I'm like too good to be true. Like there's no way in hell I'm getting in. Like it's not possible, And so my friend and filmmaker Cameron Bruce Nelson both applied, and they basically staggered out the people who got accepted like in batches, like they would kind of announce online. And so by the first couple times they announced 10 so people at a time, it was very clear that I had not been selected, but Cameron had been. And I was so proud of Cameron. Like he was in one of the batch, he was going. And then in the last few weeks before the workshop, they said, hey, look, we're having some people drop out, and so we're now going to our list of runner-ups. And I was like in the top 10 runner-up to come in. And so by the skin of my teeth, I was able to get in with one of my best friends and be at this workshop. And I actually came from Sundance, this is early 2016, and got on a flight and made it to Cuba just in time for the workshop to start. And the whole workshop, the whole idea of it was you have 10 days where they put you up, they feed you, and it's all housed at a film school that's already teaching classes to other students who are there as film students at this school in Cuba. So it was like this separate organization, Black Factory Cinema, that was actually based in Barcelona. And they were the ones that put this together. And they said, hey, look, we're being hosted by this Cuban school. Kiarostami's coming in. And so for 10 days, we put you up, we feed you, and Kiarostami will give you a prompt on day one. He'll give you an idea of what to make your short film about, and then you have to pitch Kiarostami. He has to approve it, and then you have to make your film. And on the last day of the 10 days is like the big screening day party where everybody screens their films. You have like a big party before everybody leaves. So his prompt was simply family, and so that's where everybody was having to write their scripts, but everybody, all 50 people, had to help each other make their films. So like, even though I did my film, I worked on 6 other movies. So those days in Cuba are packed, and there's no cell phone reception. This is kind of out in the country, really. It's not like in the hub of like Havana. So it's very isolated. So it really taught you how to kind of like think quick on your feet and kind of get back to basics,
How do you manage to work on so many movies at once, participating in other people's movies and making your own?
I mean, that was a really tough thing to do. I mean, honestly, I was getting worried that I wasn't going to have my own movie, which would have been a problem, because I was right. Helping everybody else. I was aiding in one, acting in another. But I think part of it was also that I didn't have the right idea yet to pitch Kiarostami. Okay. And so it took a while till I had that idea. And it was literally, I guess 3 days from the final day of the event that I was like, I got the idea. I wrote down this feverish monologue of this character, and I knew it was going to be this kind of thing of play with identity. I kept thinking of something out of a Yorgos Lanthimos film or something, where it's like kind of playful. There's like almost like a game at work here, but it's deadly. It's dangerous. And so I pitched it to him, and he approved, and then had to make the movie. And it was really just like a few people that made it. I think the tricky part was a lot of the other filmmakers that used non-actors, just locals. So some were farmers, some were other filmmakers in the group. But I knew that I needed an actual actor to perform this. So luckily for us, the school had one day that they had, I think it was day 2 or day 3, where they had like a meet and greet with actual actors from Havana who came into the school on a bus, had coffee and cake, and you could just meet them. And if you liked them, then you could, contact them to be in your movie. And so even though I didn't have my script yet, there was this one actress there who I met, and I was like, she'd be cool to work with. And she ended up being the main actor, actually, and the other actor as well, the one who plays the grandmother at the end. Like they were both from that meeting at the school.
What about the kid?
Kid was a non-actor. Kid was just hanging out. He lived nearby. He was a local, and he would follow all the filmmakers around. And he was like, help carry equipment and like let me play with the camera. And so his real name's Christian, and so he was just like, I just want to help out. And I like Christian so much. I was like, do you want to be in my movie? And this is all through translation because unfortunately I don't know Spanish, and so there's a lot of learning when it came to making a film not in your native tongue, to where I was like, wow, like everything takes twice as long just in the sheer direction communication of making a film.
And so did somebody else translate the script you wrote?
Yeah, so what I did was I tried my best in my very feeble way, using a very few bars of internet that we had, like Wi-Fi at the school, to translate. So I gave her both the English monologue and my Spanish translation, and she was like, I can't make sense of either one of these. Then luckily there was a woman who was incredible, who was working with the Black Factory Cinema team that was hosting this event, but on the side she was just kind of helping crew, like for some of the filmmakers making these films. So I asked her, do you want to be like my AD essentially and come on, but at first I need you to help me translate this for Carmen. And that's what she did, and she helped make sure that all the lines were translated and made sense, and then it was performed. And by the way, that the take that's in the film, that was the rehearsal. That the actor did. Like, I didn't hear her say the lines or do anything. Like, she knew the scene, she knew the dialogue. I told her the blocking, and that was it. So that was actually, we only did 2 takes. So that was the rehearsal, and then she did the actual take. We were rolling on both, but we realized the first one was raw. Was the way to go.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is very different from what you're describing, earlier, just what a believer you are in rehearsal.
Well, or is it the ultimate belief in rehearsal when you take it over the finished thing?
I think my answer to that is different films call for different measures. And I think that, like, in this case, I probably would have rehearsed had we time to do it. But you have a hard time getting a hold of somebody in Cuba. There was a lot of like leaving notes, hoping that they would find it. And then like the bus broke down, and so there was just all these kind of things that made it like a 48-hour film race more than anything, but led by Abbas Kiarostami.
Right.
I was gonna say, when you were saying the kind of premise, like Kiarostami gives a prompt and everybody has to pitch it and then make the movie in a week. I was like, this would be a great reality television program. It would be like kind of like the that show. What was it? On the Lot.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
On the Lot. Like, they put you in. It's like you have to care what Gary Marshall says about your movie, and like even America.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot all about that. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, that's honestly what it was a 48-hour film race. But I think the cool part about it was you're getting these lessons and lectures from Kiarostami every day in the morning. So everybody has breakfast together and coffee, and then he either shows one of his films or talks about it or gives a lesson, and then you go off and shoot the rest of the day, And so it was against kind of my what I usually feel comfortable in, and yet at the same time, it was so much. It was just like hoping for the best and being like, prepare, and then know that you may have to throw everything out the window. And I think that's just kind of a good way to be in general. Because as an actor, I've you do all these things, you think about your character, you have all your lines down, and then you get to set, and they're like, hey, guess what? Like, we're now not shooting in a building, we're shooting in a barn, and it's now winter, it's not summer, and you're now smoking in the scene, you're a chain smoker. Did I not tell you that? Okay, you're a chain smoker, so you're smoking. And so, like, all of a sudden you're throwing all these things sometimes. I just got to go with it. But hopefully everything that you put into preparation and preparing for the role or the film can come out in some ways and help you get to this new place.
So when I saw Kiarostami, I can never pronounce his name right.
No, yeah.
I was excited because what was that?
Oh, and I say no, it's okay. Yeah.
It's okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. A Taste of Cherry is one of my favorite movies. I don't have a top 10. We counted it something like top 23.
Oh yeah.
But it's pretty high up.
It is in an Excel spreadsheet, though. Like, we're not sure the exact number, but it's very cleanly laid out.
Yeah. I have it as I do have them laid out.
You and me both, though, Ron. That's my favorite. Taste of Cherry. That was the first I saw, and it blew my mind wide open.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
But he, so Dan was talking about my falling asleep at his movie screening.
Yeah.
So I usually fall asleep during movies for about, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 minutes, and
he missed the middle one. Like, no, he didn't fall asleep.
But I feel I was exonerated. I feel like maybe I don't know if that's the right word, exonerated, because there was something that Kiarostami said about making a movie that you feel so comfortable and safe in. I don't remember exact words, that you fall asleep during it.
You're absolutely. So he said that in Cuba. You're right. He said that, saying he's like, it's okay to fall asleep like during a film, and he goes, ideas can affect your your dreams, like you're almost becoming like a co-op or creating your own thing from watching the movie.
Oh yeah, I'm totally dreaming like parts of the movie, whether it's a continuation or whether I'm hearing bits of it, and while I'm sleeping. Yeah.
Oh yes, some of my favorite memories are of watching movies or falling asleep. Because like when I was in college, I went to CUNY and I could get into the MoMA movie theater for free with my student ID.
Yeah.
And I was in New York City over the summer in college one year, and I was living in the fifth floor of this like brownstone, like fucking, half pizza oven, half apartment complex with no air conditioner. And so I would just go over to I go on the subway, go to the MoMA, watch 3 movies a day because they had air conditioning, and I would fall asleep because it would just be like the time when I was cool and comfortable enough to sleep.
I love your story though, like being so hot, like in the summer, like the cool movie theater. Because I have that memories as a kid, just of like always being hot. It was summer in Texas, and then going to the movie theater in the middle of the day. It was like this escape,
Yeah.
It always felt kind of like what a church was supposed to be.
Absolutely. I mean, and then who is it? What was the filmmaker that always said that? Actually, was it Scorsese, I think, or somebody who said that basically that the theater is like his church. It's like that's like the place, the sanctuary to rest.
Right. And you have like, it's one of the few modern spaces where you have a lot of people, they're paying attention to the same thing with a certain seriousness.
Right.
They're congregated, but they don't necessarily know each other, but they kind of come together as this collective body for the purpose of sometimes gawking, but usually something a little more prestigious.
No, you're right.
This is the wrong word, but yeah.
No, totally. Yeah, those are good memories. That feeling, I can have that feeling just you telling that story. Like immediately, I think of being a kid again, and just like sweating, just like cooling off in this chair with a Coke.
Oh yeah, you were in Texas. Yeah, New York's really nothing compared to.
I mean, I know, but you all have the asphalt, like the buildings and the concrete and the glass, so just like becomes a oven of like what do you do?
Yeah. Well, go to the movies.
Yeah.